All right, let's call this meeting to order. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our November Board of Supervisors meeting. Lisa, will you please note that all sheet?
Nope, I'm taking the notes today. And we do have a guest from last director in the PlayStation.
Okay, sounds good. Well, please note that all three supervisors are here. We'll now move into public comment on agenda items. Are there any public comments on any of the agenda items listed here tonight before we vote on them?
Yeah, thank you.
Before you start, I will ask that you please make your way over to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
I'm Dave Bushnell, 330 Spencer Avenue, here in Lancaster Township. And I'm just delighted to see on your agenda the resolution for community solar. And I wanted to just briefly, for people that may not understand what community solar is, just briefly say what that is. Community solar is an opportunity for more people to have access to clean energy in the state. There are about 25 states already that have legislation that allows for community solar. Pennsylvania is not one of them yet, but there's been a bill that's been passed through the House, bipartisan, and it's been passed, and then now it's kind of in the Senate's bailiwick. But we're asking for resolutions, and you've created one across the Commonwealth. There's a number of municipalities that have provided resolutions to say, please act on this. It's a very important piece of legislation for solar energy. Less than 1% of our energy in Pennsylvania is created by solar. So there's a huge opportunity here. And you know, when you go down, drive around, and you might see big solar installations, you wonder who's benefiting from that. Well, it's not you or me. It's not an individual that could perhaps invest in an array of solar panels and then have a benefit to their own electric bill, a deduction from their electric bill according to what they're invested in this solar array. That's what community solar does. It equalizes, democratizes this move towards cleaner energy. And so I really thank you for providing a resolution. I think you've received a lot of information about it, and it's a great thing, and I know I'll be proud to be part of the township that is going to have its resolution added to the list. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Roger Hahn, 409 South President. I've been able to help my son financially with his solar installation. I've been able to help my church financially with their installation as well. I read about the people in Puerto Rico having a problem with their electrical grid, and I've been happy to support that. But I have a problem. I live in Pennsylvania, and I live in Hamilton Park. Hamilton Park is known for shade and slate roofs. So I'm pretty much ruled out of being able to do anything here. So that's why I, like Dave, am here to say, you know, let's support this initiative to get a community solar. Thanks.
Hello, supervisors. My name is Paula Coda. I live very, very close to here. Just want to thank you for this opportunity to have this really important discussion on an important topic. 2021, my husband and I decided to install solar panels, but before we did so, we did a lot of research. We looked at a lot of different organizations that proposed to help us, and we looked at the numbers, and at the end of the day, it was like a really big number, and we looked at it and said, oh my gosh, it's going to be like a 8 to 9 year payback period. Is that something really worth it for us to do? Especially because at the time we weren't sure if we were going to be residents of Lancaster Township for the next 8 years. But now it's 2025, and thanks, I guess, to partially the tax credits, but also, unfortunately, the rise of the cost of electricity in this country, we are very, very near to making a break-even point and making back everything that we had invested in, at least buying the solar panels themselves. And we realize we're fortunate, we're privileged to, first of all, be able to have had the funds to purchase the solar panels in the first place, but also, unlike some of our neighbors who have shady backyards or have homes that aren't properly positioned to get all those solar rays, that we had that right house and we were in the right position and we had the financial means to take advantage of that. So today, usually on a monthly basis, our electricity bill is zero, and every quarter we get some sort of payback from our utility. And why shouldn't our neighbors who either don't have that property, the sight line, or maybe don't have their own home, they rent perhaps, or they're part of a group that's a group home of some sort, why shouldn't they all have access to the technological advances that we currently have? And quite frankly, when we made our decision, it came down to not just the payback period, but also finally, because my husband's a big greenie, he's like, okay, whoever owns this home in the future, they will have access to clean energy and renewable energy source. So that's the real reason we did it, but now it's paying back. And so I would like our neighbors to have the benefit of being able to take advantage of all that as well. If you pass this resolution, you will be sending a message to Harrisburg that House Bill 504 is something that needs to get out of committee and voted on, that there is a interest amongst residents in the state for something like this. You will also be sending a message to your constituents that you believe that equal access to choice of utilities and types of energy is something that you are for. What you're not going to be doing, because it's a non-binding resolution, is you're not committing yourself to be paying taxpayer monies, or you're not committing yourself to taking action, and you're also not mandating residents to go out and say, this is something you got to do. It's a public choice. It is a kind of capitalistic market. The people who want to take advantage of it will. And also, maybe the other thing that you'll be sending a message on with this is that Pennsylvania doesn't need to be a laggard. I think David said that only 1% of our solar energy right now is 1% of our energy in Pennsylvania is being produced by solar. Well, Pennsylvania is a laggard in that we are the 49th state in the nation for renewable energy growth. We are the 26th for residential solar system installations, and we're the 41st in the United States for utility level solar energy use. So all of those are things that you'd be sending as a strong message if you approve this resolution, and also just the fact that Lancaster Township will continue to be a progressive voice amongst municipalities in Lancaster County. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Jody Blauk, I live in Hampton Park, and just want I'm here also to support the community solar resolution, and also Jeff, thank you very much for having it on the agenda. When Lancaster Township passes this resolution, we'll be joining Pittsburgh, Allegheny County, Sharpsburg, Borough, and Lancaster City as municipalities that have already passed this resolution and already have this resolution, and we'll be leading the way from McKeesport, Braddock, Forest Hills, Wilkinsburg, Dormant, and Oak Point who are considering this resolution. So this is a really, really, really good idea. In my humble opinion, it's a no-brainer to have this thing called community solar. As Paula said, it's time for us to rise in rank with regards to growth in renewable energy. And I also want to point out that this is not utility scale. So community solar is not utility scale, so we don't have to, it's small enough so that we don't have to go through PJM or the grid manager, which is known as PJM. Community solar can be installed in brownfields, warehouse roofs, farmland, especially combined with grazing or crops. And also possibly can be installed in a 3, 5, 6 acre open space parking lot to our east that we all know is this open, beautiful open area that community solar farm would fit perfectly in. I think you know what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. But that's where Valentino's and the whole area. So wouldn't that be cool to see a community solar farm in that spot? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Marianne Smith. I live on South President in Hamilton Park, and I'm just here to support this resolution as well about community solar. I have solar panels on my house already. I'm leading a project at my church to get solar panels on the church. I have a lot of shade in my yard, so even though I have solar panels covering every bit of roof that I can, I do not make enough electricity to cover my bills. We did that in spite of it not being a good financial decision because of our values, and this was important to us. I would invest in community solar in addition to all of those things if it were available.
Thank you. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to move up the resolution item B under new business for a final vote right now. So with that being said, I'll need a motion in a second, please.
Mr. Chair, Resolution 2025-18, resolution supporting community solar. I'd make a motion that we approve the resolution.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We're done. Now we're going to move into the presentation. Presentation by the Lancaster Rec. Folks, you're welcome to stay or.
I promise not to take too much of your time. So my name's Jack Bingaman. I know some of the people in this room, and not all of you, but I've been at the Lancaster Rec for about 20 years. Most recently, I was the director of recreation, so I oversaw the youth sports, events, recreational programs. I am now the associate executive director. So I'm here to share everything Lancaster Rec and update everyone on what went on this fall, and then kind of some forward-looking stuff. So, yeah, like I said, I was the director of recreation. I still oversee the recreation department. Our programming usually happens in St. Joe's, Maple Grove, and Community Park mainly, but we are looking to expand and look at all opportunities in Lancaster Township and kind of strengthen our relationship with Lancaster Township and expand on our programming and kind of improve on what we already do and look for what other opportunities we have. I'll leave my business cards on the table. If I'm always happy to talk to anyone about ideas, concerns, or questions about the Lancaster Rec. I'll share some highlights. So one of the things we're most proud about, we hosted the 3rd annual Lancaster Unity Cup in Community Park. That happens, it's the 3rd time we did it, obviously. It's a high-level soccer tournament for the immigrant and refugee community. So we had 14 teams this year from all over the country, about 210 players. The tournament started in June. It went 8 weeks and wrapped up 8 weeks from that point. I'm not exactly sure of the end date, but it's a big deal. It's made of players from all over the country. It's a high level of soccer, and it attracts a good amount of people. We're looking to expand on the impact and how many people are attending those events. So we're in our third year. We're looking to add to that, add teams, add more and more teams every year. Secondly, we started renting out Maple Grove for rentals. That really took off this year. We had 64 rentals over the past year. We'll continue to do that, but the community really, we stopped taking rentals at Lancaster Rec during COVID. It was staffing and it wasn't something we did, but we looked to open that back up, and Maple Grove was a huge opportunity. We staff that. We do that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so if we ever wanted to do it during the week, I don't know, Devin, if we'll ever get to that, but we could even have a larger impact. Third, as far as youth sports, community park, I don't know if anyone has ever been to community park on a Saturday in the fall or spring. There's hundreds of kids that are served out there. Our two biggest programs are soccer, and that happens solely at community park. We served 460 kids the entire year in 2025. Baseball, there's 3 fields there. We're looking to possibly revive the 4th. But baseball is making a bit of a comeback in the community. We saw during COVID, youth sport numbers kind of sank a little bit, but we're seeing them rebound quite a bit, and baseball is one of the sports that were impacted by that. So there you see a picture of the Unity Cup and then our youth baseball program too. I touched on Maple Grove, but we really used that not just for rentals, but the Lancaster Rec has utilized that for staff meetings, trainings, retreats. We were there just last week. We've piloted new programs there. We've done karate, dance programs. We're looking at ways, working with Devin. Actually, we surveyed the area kind of at our last staff retreat to see what improvements we could suggest for Maple Grove to make it more conducive to programming with the flooring, utilizing the green space there. We've also used it as an alternative location for the senior center too. When they're displaced, whatever it is, for like an all-day camp or we can't use the rec, we've worked with the Office of Aging to move that to Maple Grove. So Maple Grove has been huge for us in the last year, and we're really appreciative of the use of that facility. Another thing is St. Joe's. We're restarting the youth softball program there. St. Joe's Athletic Club had softball for years. McCaskey has requested that we start our own youth girls softball. So beginning in 2025, we will have youth girls softball, and that will be at St. Joe's Park, maybe community, but we'll work all those details out. Another exciting thing this fall, the rec team and Devin and his crew installed batting, well, I should say Devin. Devin and his crew installed batting cages. We met with him prior. But they have been constructed at Community Park. You can see the picture there. That was something the community and the baseball community mainly has demanded for the last, I've known Devin for over a decade now, and they've wanted batting cages for years, and this year we were able to make that a reality. So you can see the batting cages, all of it's done. We just have to hang the nets in the spring. So they'll be up and running in the spring of 2026. Junior Tornado football, that's been huge. At St. Joe's, they've moved to St. Joe's for the entirety of the 2025 season. If it wasn't for that park, they would have been completely displaced. I don't know if people are aware of the construction at McCaskey, but we didn't have access to any field space over there. So our program moved up to the St. Joe's field and was able to use that for the entirety of the season. Not to mention the lights there. There's definitely a need for lit fields for the youth in our community, and St. Joe's is probably the only one that's usable for our youth. So it's definitely a big deal for our programming. I threw a few testimonials in here. It's just families talking about, they live in township, and they're commenting on the field usage and kind of what I spoke on. If we didn't have these fields, those kids wouldn't have anywhere to play. So we certainly are appreciative of Lancaster Township and their willingness to house these programs because we don't have other spots to take them. So I wanted to include the breakdown of programs and the numbers that we have within our programming. The first slide shows programs that are actually located in Lancaster Township Park. So we have flag football that was at Wheatland this fall. Baseball is obviously in Community Park. Football is up at St. Joe's, and soccer's at Community Park. So as you can see, flag football is just filled with Lancaster Township kids. So that's one of our, over half the kids are Lancaster Township residents. I think some of that in the fall, it becomes kind of skewed because they're not playing tackle football, so the kids are playing tackle, but it's still a good number. So through a little research, when I compared the residents in township and the city, the ratio is about 24% in Lancaster Township would make it even as far as that age group for youth in the city compared to township. So some of our programs obviously are under that and some are over in that. I don't know the exact reasoning for that. I'm sure there's some, but I think there's an opportunity. These statistics kind of show that there is an opportunity to advertise and promote these programs to more Lancaster Township kids so we can kind of even out those numbers. So that's something that we want to focus on in the upcoming years. That's just some extra numbers here. Unity Cup, 210 players. We estimate there is 400 spectators. It was quite the scene, like in the spring. If you go over to Community Park, we will have all the kids playing soccer, so that's like 400 kids, 400 Unity Cup spectators, and then baseball too. So on any given Saturday, not every Saturday, but there's quite a few people at Community Park, and we heavily use the park. Before I conclude here, I don't want to take too much of your time, but looking ahead, I wanted to comment. Like I said, I do work closely with Devin, but we're going into a strategic plan in 2027, and one of the things that we want to do is align that strategic plan. I don't know if you guys have a pros plan for the parks to make sure that our goals are also aligning with our partners so that we're on the same page. So I want to make sure that we're doing that. Whether that's bringing events, me and Devin have talked about bringing events, whether it's Lancaster Beer Gardens, Unity Cup, different programming, exploring other parks like the Hamilton Park, Windolph Landing. If we can bring programming to parks that we usually don't have programming at, whatever that takes, and in a way of finding out what those items are, having a recreation survey. So we'll have that survey that'll go out towards the end of the year, leading into our strategic plan in 2027, and hopefully that will yield some really good results as far as recreational programming in the upcoming years. And like I said, I'll put my business cards on the back table, so if you would have any questions or comments or want to discuss anything, I'd be glad to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions, gentlemen?
No? All right. Well, thank you. We'll move into Secretary's report. Any issues with last month's minutes? All right. We'll move into Treasurer's report.
All right, general fund and investments, escrows and liabilities, $7,846,359.49. Highway aid fund, $1,146,541.48. Capital Reserve Fund, $2,448,779.67. File that audit.
Monthly bills.
The bills, general fund paid, $534,553.52, for a total paid of $534,553.52. Escrow fund paid, $4,270.03. There's nothing unpaid, so the total is $4,270.03. State Highway Fund paid, $280,660.74. There's nothing unpaid, so the total is $280,660.74. Capital Reserve Fund paid, $236,890.62 with nothing unpaid. So the total is $236,890.62 for a total paid of $1,553,000. $56,374.91. I'd make a motion we pay the bills.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Reports. Lafayette Fire Company. We don't have a report this month. Is anybody here from Lafayette? No. All right. Lancaster Township Fire Department, West Side.
We have no report probably at this
No
time.
report. Recycling report, October 2025, 19.45% of the trash was recycled. Safety committee minutes, sewer reports, and printed copies of all reports are available at the meeting at the township office for a nominal fee and can be viewed and printed from the website. We'll now move into workshop reports. First up, planning and zoning, Mr. John Donnelly.
Good evening. Not a whole lot for you this month. As you know, there's a couple big projects coming up through. I don't want to steal any of Ben's thunder, but we have a few of them coming up through. Some on the agenda tonight for action, and a few others on the radar that we've had informal conversations with those developers. We've had some issues with developers. We're just trying to keep them in line and do the things that they're supposed to be doing, do the right things. It's been a bit of a struggle at times. Grass, as you can imagine, this is probably the last month you'll hear me talk about grass. We've kind of gotten to the point now where the growing season's done, and I think we've probably already finished, but we'll have a couple odds and ends we're going to clean up yet. But it's been a busy year for us. The ordinances I spoke to you last month about have been submitted to the County Planning Commission. They're on the agenda for next month's meeting, December 8th, I believe it is. So I don't know that I will have a report back to you by then at our next supervisors meeting, but as soon as we get it, we'll of course forward it to you. That's all I got for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Next up, Township Engineer Ben Liver.
Not much to report other than I'm very grateful the temperatures are getting cold, so construction can slow down and I can catch my breath. So it's been quite a summer. That's really all I have to say.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Next up, Public Works, Devin Groff.
Good evening. A couple things to note here. First off, I want to thank Jack on his presentation and note that it wasn't just me, it was the entire Public Works Department, and mostly the Public Works Department that had their hand in that cage up there. They did a great job, so hats off to them for that.
Yeah, sorry if I
No, you're good. You're fine. A few things to note here. Obviously, leaf collection is we're in the midst of it. Pretty low in the complaints this year. We've been doing a really good job with communications, but I just want to let the residents know that we're getting into the bulk of it. The loads are starting to the volumes are starting to pick up, and it's starting to slow down, and how quickly we can get around the township. So I just want the residents to know that we will get around. It just takes a little longer when we get the higher volumes. A couple things the crew has worked on this past month is in the parks. We've been planting a lot of trees in the fall. Obviously, a great time to do that. So both along Elm Avenue and in Maple Grove and around the police station, we've been doing some plantings, as well as Community Park, as you can see in some of the photos that we provided you. And then the last thing I have for you is if you haven't noticed, the lines in the township haven't been painted this year yet. They're scheduled for tomorrow. As well, not just us, but other local municipalities have been having problems with this county contract, this line painting contractor. So we're dealing with that. We've gotten pushback, so we'll get the lines painted, but just wanted everyone to know that they're coming, because I know there's been some questions going on. So unless you guys have any other questions for me.
None for me. No? All right, thank you. All right, next up, Police Chief Getz.
Good evening, gentlemen. Not a whole lot here for the police department either. I'll give you the October 2025 significant statistics I've been given. We had 402 calls for service in October, 33 crashes, no fatal crashes, 118 traffic citations were issued, 12 written traffic warnings were issued, 11 misdemeanor and/or felony arrests, no DUI arrests in October, 11 non-traffic citations, 1 overdose incident, but it did not result in a fatality. The drug take-back program's been popular. We're about to empty our bin. It's already filled up, so it's been popular with the residents in the township. We've only had it up there for maybe 2 months at tops. It's already full. So it's been a popular thing, and I just want to remind the residents we're still doing Toys for Tots. Our first bin is almost full, but please drop off toys for underprivileged kids. We'd appreciate it. So that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions.
None for me.
Nope.
Nope. All right. Next up, Township Manager, Mr. Lodine.
2 items. Want to recognize John and Devin. They've been working throughout the year on trying to find us a new software vendor. Currently, each one of our departments and systems works independently of one another. These gentlemen went out and found a software vendor that has a one-stop shop. So rather than all that information being in various locations, we'll have it in one data set. But more importantly than that, this software has a community-facing portion of it that I think is going to help us with our customer service, the mapping software, filling out permits online. We've moved in that direction. The residents can pay for the trash bills online currently. They can download and fill out manually some of the permits that we have, but all that's going to be automated and interfaced on the web. And I think is going to be a big improvement. It's going to take us about a year to implement all of it. We want to make sure it works right, but most importantly, we passed this legislation for a rental inspection program that would not have been possible without this software. So we'll be able to roll out in January or February with the rental inspection program, and that's a key component to ensuring resident safety, as you know from some of the troubles we've had over the last 18 months or so. The only other thing to note, and it's bad news, as many of you know, our 30-plus year employee and Public Works Superintendent Rob Eckenrode passed away last week. We had a very nice service for him at Sacred Heart, and then a procession that went past his house and past the Rob Eckenrode, which is now the Rob Eckenrode Memorial Park, across the street. I want to thank the fire department and the Public Works Department and the police department for their participation in that procession. I think we were able to kind of respect Rob's contributions to the community and to the Lancaster Township Public Works Department with our presence there. And he was a character, and he'll definitely be missed.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
All right.
Yeah,
Questions? Comments?
If you both agree, I'd like to ask you, Bill, to look into an alternative township solicitor in the coming year.
Okay.
Maybe have some interviews for that and see who you find.
Great.
All right. Thank you. Announcements. Tuesday, November 11th at 6:30 p.m. The Youth 8 panel meeting will be here tomorrow at 1240 Maple Ave. Tuesday, November 18th at 7 p.m. is our Planning Commission meeting here at 1240 Maple Ave. Tuesday, November 25th at 7 p.m. is the Zoning Hearing Board meeting here at 1240 Maple Ave. Actually, just kidding. It's canceled due to lack of agenda items. So, didn't read that the whole way through. Monday, December 1st, 6:30 p.m. the Historical Commission meeting is here at 1240 Maple Ave. Monday, December 8th is our next Board of Supervisors meeting right here at 1240 Maple Ave. All business, there is none. We'll move into planning and zoning.
Can you take that one? Mr. Chair, LTPC 331, Lancaster County Correctional Facility Waiver Request. I'd make a motion that we approve a waiver request of the subdivision and land development ordinance for the need of a preliminary plan. You have any comments, Ben, or anything about that?
No, I was in support of the waiver request, discussed it with the Planning Commission, and they also recommended its approval.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you. Second. All right. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 LTPC 327 Millersville Apartments Financial Security Reduction Request. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the request from Thomas Borghetti, Burger Development, for reduction of the financial security for Millersville Apartments down to $287,845.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
New business.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we provide the draft budget for public review and advertising for action at our December meeting.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Guest recognition and participation. Is there anyone in the audience here tonight that would like to make any public comment on any issue? If you do, we ask that you please step over to the podium and state your name and address.
Hello, Suzanne Stoltzfus, 21 Atkins Avenue. I am here again asking that you explore the possibility of acquiring those parking lots. I have been told that there is an interested buyer, but track record shows that that does not mean the purchase is going to happen. We would need time anyway to explore grants, look for partner organizations, do a feasibility study. I think at a time when neighboring municipalities are taking proactive steps to address flooding, improve water quality, preserve natural areas for future generations, it's disheartening to see the township stand still. So we're not asking for immediate action, just engagement and taking first steps. I have a petition here with nearly 30 signatures asking you to do a feasibility study, to put it on the agenda, to take those first steps. I'm gonna just give this to Bill.
Thanks, guys. Great.
Okay. And that's it.
All right, awesome.
Hi, Allison Kibler, 107 Atkins Avenue, and I'm here to talk about Susanna's proposal. I also signed the petition. Like Susanna, my house backs into the parking lot, a different part of the parking lot, but I just wanted to kind of remind people over the years the different problems that the parking lots have presented and that you have, for the most part, addressed. So there's been, idling semi-trucks for a long period of time. There's been like overgrown weeds that needed to be mowed, that all needed to get sorted out. There's been now, I think I've taken a couple pictures of kind of random construction equipment parked behind the Sunoco. And then next to the Sunoco on Columbia Ave, there's like 4 orange traffic barrels, they're not really cones, like blocking off traffic into that road that goes into the parking lot. Because now it's like the owner of the parking lot has said, okay, like this is private property, and done this, so lots of like no trespassing, no passing through. But it seems like that should not be a permanent thing, those cones blocking off a roadway. So I think that if we could do something creative with that space, it could really kind of finally put an end to the ongoing problems with the parking lot. One last point, I was really pleased to see those trees get planted on Elm Avenue, and I'm really glad Devin mentioned that tonight. And it really still makes no sense to me about why the trees do not extend beyond West Street to cover the parking lot. They only block the parking lot of Valentino's. And so like the township paid for those trees and planted them? So like why not go across West Street? I assumed that it was Valentino's responsibility to screen its parking lot which is what the ordinances say. You're supposed to screen your parking lot from residences. You're supposed to have islands of green space in a parking lot, which that, obviously, none of those parking lots have that, but the pediatric long-term care facility does. So I don't know, why doesn't that giant parking lot have to do that? Why don't we go ahead and screen that too?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
I've answered that to you in an email before, and Devin's answered that to you.
But then
But you're choosing, I don't think, to either hear us or understand the differentiation between the lot that fronts Elm and the two other lots that sit below it. And it's also, we can't compel people to do things on private property unless the ordinance permits us to. We would love to see the extension of that walkway be lined with trees. But that is a private property issue, and the difficulty is you're conflating the responsibilities for what Valentino had to do because of their use of the property as a commercial property,
Right.
and what's being done on those other lots. So there's 3 different lots there.
Right.
The one that sits closest to Elm is not being used commercially.
So there's no screening responsibility for Bill Roberts in those parking lots?
There might be some screening responsibility at the lower lot closest to Sunoco.
Okay. Because he has improved the lots. I understand, Devin's and John's email back to me was super informative, but I still struggle to understand why Valentino's would need to screen and the parking lot would not. But if the ordinance went into place in 1992, then there's been a couple times when the parking lot has been upgraded, when it seems to me it would have had to comply with the new ordinance.
I don't know the upgrade you're referring to, but
They repaved the blacktop at the top nearest to the houses on Atkins Avenue, and they redid the lighting
right, but
behind
that doesn't make it a commercial use. I'm not trying to be obstinate.
No,
I would
I
like
know.
to see trees there as well, and you know the difficulties that we've had in dealing with that lot.
Right.
So I can't compel him to do anything other than I have the legal authority to do so.
Right.
So in terms of, I think in one of the emails you provided us, you spoke to parking compounds, and I understand that the zoning ordinance or the saldo isn't always intuitive, but a parking compound is not a parking lot. So a parking compound is like a pay-for-fee parking facility, right? So we're not doing that over there. He's not renting that out. He's not, it's not the flat lot.
He did though, didn't he?
Not that I know of. It's not the flat lot, next to the market in town. So Valentino's has to screen their commercial use from the residential uses that adjoin it. So that's why they were obligated to do that. Now, the reason we installed that is we went into a partnership with them because we wanted to have a more walkable community. So we extended that walking path with their cooperation and permission. So they removed the old trees to allow us to put the walking path in, and then we said we would plant the trees there. We also extended, narrowed the cartway, put the curb in, and extended that walking path across Bill Roberts' lot. If he would allow us to plant trees there, that'd be great.
So he's been asked and he won't do it.
I can't even get a hold of the guy anymore.
I know. Well, okay, so in a way that, I guess I just want to say, the problems in the parking lot are, it is so unsightly, and it is in disrepair, and our basements flood now when that water comes rushing down. And if people could be creative and proactive about that space along the lines that Susanna's suggesting, that would be great for our whole neighborhood.
I couldn't agree anymore.
I know, so that's.
And we keep referring to it as a parking lot, but it's a vacant lot. And it's
I
a
know.
vacant lot that's zoned for commercial development, and we have pursued the lot as potentially being a township park or a township
Yeah.
facility or putting it into some other use. We've also been very, very accommodating to any sort of commercial use who came in here. We had a lot of hope that Bloom Box would be in there. We bent over backwards to get them in there, and then that fell through. And more recently, we've been led to believe that there's someone interested in purchasing the property, although, as Ms. Stoltzfus said, we hear these stories, we get right up to the edge of having this developed beneficially, which I think is a solution to some of the problems you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I agree.
And then the rug gets pulled out from underneath us. And when we ask Bill Roberts if we can buy it, or we can partner in it, or we can do something else in it, again, I get drug along. Tom Daniels, I don't know how many meetings he sat through only to find out that while he was having those conversations with us, he was marketing the property to be sold to other folks. So it's difficult. But Ultimately, I think the most immediate solution would be someone to come in and develop the site. And in the absence of that, yeah, we love that. In fact, we met at the Planning Commission and they were talking about doing a comprehensive plan. And I said, before we really delve into that, let's look at our growth opportunity areas, specifically West Street, because it's one of the few open lots that we have that we can develop beneficially. And I've asked them and challenged them to look at that in a couple other spots as how can we change our ordinance to make it more accommodating for a beneficial use.
So
we're
when you
trying.
say we, you're talking about like making it more amenable to developers? Or you're talking about us as the township making it into something?
Either or.
Okay.
I mean, we have a limited amount of commercial and we have a very limited amount of housing
Right.
stock. So if we could
Right.
find somebody to go in there that would use that beneficially and work with the township in order to mitigate some of the stormwater impacts, as well as provide some services that we already lack, that, to me, that would be the best use of that
Yeah.
site. It's in the urban growth boundary, it has public water, it has public sewer, it's close access to infrastructure, like, that would be better.
To have it be like how.
What would be best is if the township required it, that would be the best.
Well, from your perspective, it is, and I understand that, but
Yeah, so
you
that's
know,
why I'm asking. That's why I want you to proactively, not.
The trouble is it's privately owned and we can only acquire something for a real value, not the value that someone could sell it for.
So you can't acquire it at market value.
Correct. Well, a true value, but not a value. So like I could sell my house. My house is valued at this, but you know how the housing market is right now, that people are spending $50,000 over asking price just to get their foot in the door. We can't do that. We can only buy it for what it's valued at. And if we offer him this and he can get $100,000 from somebody else, where do you think he's going to go?
Maybe, who knows, who knows? Like, he might say, I would love to have a park in my name, or in my partner's name,
again, it's
something
what
like
I've
that.
tried to
I
tell you,
know,
is we've
yeah.
had those discussions with him time and time again. This is not out of a lack of trying to get across the finish line. It's, we don't have a willing seller, and we can't, I mean, we're not gonna take the park by eminent domain. I mean, that's not a practical solution. It's not an equitable solution, at least. And there has to be some measure in what we do in terms of
Right.
spending the taxpayers' money and the overall benefit to it. So we have a
Right.
vacant lot in the urban growth boundary with water and sewer that's zoned for commercial and or potentially residential use, and we have an owner who's actively pursuing that.
But
He's,
it's just been decades. It seems like there should be something that can be done with a property owner who's like holding property in this way for decades. There's no creative
I sat with
solutions
him
to
more
that.
than 10 years ago for an hour, and we just went round and round and round, and it went absolutely nowhere. And that's the kind of interaction we've been having, and I can't disagree with you enough that you just don't go around to someone's. I'm not going to come to your house and tell you have to paint it.
Actually, the township does come to people's
I
houses.
know.
Tell them they have
Tell me
to
that
maintain
they
them.
mow our lawns if they're overgrown.
Why don't I come and,
Well,
why don't we get a
fairness-
study on your property and see whether we should change it into something totally different? I mean, honestly, think about what we're talking about here.
It's
I
derelict.
mean, this doesn't,
land.
it just doesn't, we can't do it like this. We
Well,
have to pursue him.
If the conversations
If he-
about it becoming a park or something like that have happened before, it's possible that conversation would be different now, considering there's like an organized effort amongst neighbors and his age, perhaps. I don't know.
I
But
reached
maybe-
out to him in the last month as a result of the inquiry last
Oh,
month,
thank
and
you.
he told me I have a buyer that we're near closing on.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. I know.
And
Thanks
we've
for
had,
thinking.
we've had that discussion before too. We've
And-
heard that before too.
And in response to the idea that, you know, we do paint people's properties or cut their lawn, as you noted, when there's been a transgression to the ordinance, we have made every effort to try to hold them accountable to those things. And if you see any other ordinance violations that you'd like us to enforce or make us aware of, we'll enforce those. But If you got somebody who just wants to leave that spot a vacant property and is not willing to sell it or depart with it, we are limited at what we can do.
All right, anybody else? Yes.
Good evening, I'm Dennis Deslip. I live at that obscure address, 107 Atkins Avenue. And believe it or not, I'm not here for the same reason, although I support and I signed that petition. I'm here this evening to submit a request signed by 50 Lancaster Township residents for the municipal government to conduct a tree canopy assessment and to report its final findings by February 1st, 2027. I'll share the petition and then an information sheet that we have. You know about a tree canopy assessment because I know Vincent Catrone came through a couple times at least and talked about its importance. It does many things, including simply count trees, the distribution of trees, the variety of trees, the loss of trees. It can identify township areas in need of trees. It can address erosion, et cetera, et cetera. The tree canopy assessment is really a first step, so we're a little bit behind on this. It's an essential foundational document, and its accomplishment, its completion, will do many things in terms of planning. And I would also add that it allows the township to secure free trees from foundations, several of which provide those for municipalities that have conducted tree canopy assessments, or TCAs. So there are many municipalities that have done so. Lancaster City, Pottstown, whose population is about that of Lancaster Township, Carlisle, Westchester, et cetera, et cetera. And while it is not a particularly easy undertaking, it is done by many municipalities. And of course, our township government has done a stellar job in the last few years putting up a new fire station and creating a from scratch police department. So we see the TCA as being at a much lower threshold than that. A couple quick comments. One is the expense. It's a really low to no cost. There's a bunch of software that's available for that. And then sometimes the question comes up, well, who should be doing it? We did research on this, and the municipal governments are best suited to do this. They would be assisted by local volunteer community groups, but for accountability and professionalism, it's the kind of thing, as you would think for public safety or utilities, this kind of undertaking and this kind of document and report is something that is done by the township government. So anyways, I have the petition. I have my contact information, the 50 folks that signed it. I told them I would sort of be the conduit for information. I also, by the way, am delighted that the meeting is on YouTube now. So I will direct them to this part of the meeting or the whole meeting, and they can watch it and see what happens. Happy to answer any questions. We thought we'd love to have a response by the end of the year, maybe even by the next meeting on December 8th. So I can answer any questions you have now, or we can just kind of wait while you mull.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned that it makes the township eligible for grants for free trees, and then you said it has a number of other, I forget your phraseology, but something along the lines of a number of other benefits. Just in general terms, you brought this up before, and I've never been able to kind of wrap my head or haven't heard an explanation of what those other benefits are. So we do a tree assessment, we see where our canopy exists, and maybe I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, some sort of count or understanding about what species and varieties of trees exist and where they might be?
Absolutely.
And then what?
Well, and then also places of erosion, tree deserts. So it allows for planning for mapping where trees can be planted. Perhaps there's an overgrowth of trees or diseased trees, and it can address that. So sort of the good tree hygiene, as it were, can be done when you have a tree canopy assessment. It's sort of a master document to do something. It's a little bit like any other utility, right? You want to know what you have, what you aspire to have, and where you need to go with that. So it's a way to map that out. Yeah. When Vince came through, I think he talked about that as well. I also, on that sheet, I have links to the Arbor Foundation and the Penn State Tree Extension, which has model tree canopy reports and information about the canopy assessments.
Any further questions?
I don't know.
No. None for me.
Okay, thanks. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, hearing none. Before we adjourn, I just kind of want to take this time to say that now that I'm about closing up 6 years on my first term on the board, I really wanted to take the opportunity to thank the staff, Bill included, for your advice and counsel throughout these years. I remember when I first got elected, I was all guns and blazing, doors knocking down, trying to make some type of change. And I appreciate the conversations and meetings that we've had throughout the years on how best to approach certain problems and with practical solutions. And I think it's because of that advice and counsel that I've learned a lot about the mechanics of local government. Sometimes it's easy to view local government from the outside and criticize everything that it's doing and everything that's wrong with it. But being now on this side for 6 years, I've learned a lot about local government, and especially the lexicon that goes with it. And because of your advice and counsel, I've become a better supervisor. And it's been one hell of a 6 years. Meetings upon meetings of some interesting public comments, from 5G causing cancer to the need for a tree commission. But in each and every one of those meetings, I learned a lot, not just from the staff, but from also the residents, from the neighbors. And it is a privilege to be a supervisor, and I very much thank you all for your time, and I look forward to the next 6 years. And with that being said, I adjourn this meeting.